tourism in Russia. Peterhof Palace in St. Petersburg, a UNESCO World Heritage Site. According to the World Tourism Organization, Russia was the 16th most visited country in the world and the 10th most visited country in Europe in 2018, with over 24.6 million visits. Russia was ranked 39th in the Travel and Tourism Competitiveness Report 2019 according to Federal Agency for Tourism. The number of inbound trips of foreign citizens to Russia amounted to 24.4 million in 2019. Russia's international tourism receipts in 2018 amounted to $11.6 billion. In 2019, travel and tourism accounted for about 4.8% of country's total GDP. Major tourist routes in Russia include a journey around the Golden Ring of Russia, a theme route of ancient Russian cities, cruises on large rivers such as the Volga, hikes on mountain ranges such as the Caucasus Mountains, and journeys on the famous Trans-Siberian Railway. Russia's most visited and popular landmarks include Red Square, the Peterhof Palace, the Kazan Kremlin, the Trinity Ladra of St. Sergius and Lake Baikal. Moscow, the nation's cosmopolitan capital and historic core, is a bustling megacity. It retains its classical and Soviet-era architecture while boasting high art, world-class ballet, and modern skyscrapers. St. Petersburg, the imperial capital, is famous for its classical architecture, cathedrals, museums and theaters, white nights, crisscrossing rivers and numerous canals. Russia is famed worldwide for its rich museums, such as the State Russian, the State Hermitage, and the Tretyakov Gallery, and for theaters such as the Bolshoi and the Mariinsky. The Moscow Kremlin and the St. Basil's Cathedral are among the cultural landmarks of Russia. Demographics of Russia and Russians. Ethnic groups across Russia. Ethnic groups in Russia with a population of over 1 million according to the 2010 census. Percentage of ethnic Russians by region according to the 2010 census. Russia is one of the world's most sparsely populated and urbanized countries, with a vast majority of its population concentrated within its western part. It had a population of 142.8 million according to the 2010 census, which rose to roughly 145.5 million as of 2022. Russia is the most populous country in Europe, and the world's 9th most populous country, with a population density of 9 inhabitants per square kilometer, 23 per square mile. Since the 1990s, Russia's death rate has exceeded its birth rate, which has been called by analysts as a demographic crisis. In 2019, the total fertility rate across Russia was estimated to be 1.5 children born per woman, 386, which is below the replacement rate of 2.1 and is one of the world's lowest fertility rates. Subsequently, the nation has one of the world's oldest populations, with a median age of 40.3 years. In 2009, it recorded annual population growth for the first time in 15 years, and since the 2010s, Russia has seen increased population growth due to declining death rates, increased birth rates, and increased immigration. However, since 2020, due to excessive deaths from the COVID-19 pandemic, Russia's population has undergone its largest peacetime decline in history. Russia is a multinational state. Clarification needed. Home to over 193 ethnic groups nationwide. In the 2010 census, roughly 81% of the population were ethnic Russians, and the remaining 19% of the population were ethnic minorities, while over 4/5 of Russia's population was of European descent, of which the vast majority were Slavs, with a substantial minority of Finnic and Germanic peoples. According to the United Nations, Russia's immigrant population is the world's third largest, numbering over 11.6 million. Most of which are from post-Soviet states, mainly Ukrainians. Largest cities or towns in Russia: Moscow, St. Petersburg 1, Moscow 12,381,002, St. Petersburg 5,200,000, 282,009 Samara of last 1,170,010 Ufo Tostan 1,126,000 Space Exploration Mir, Soviet and Russian space station that operated in low Earth orbit from 1986 to 2001. Roscosmos is Russia's national space agency. The country's achievements in the field of space technology and space exploration can be traced back to Konstantin Tsiolkovsky, the father of theoretical astronautics, whose works had inspired leading Soviet rocket engineers such as Sergei Korolev, Valentin Glushko, and many others who contributed to the success of the Soviet space program in the early stages of the space race and beyond. In 1957, the first Earth-orbiting artificial satellite, Sputnik 1, was launched. In 1961, the first human trip into space was successfully made by Yuri Gagarin. Many other Soviet and Russian space exploration records ensued. In 1963, Valentina Tereshkova became the first and youngest woman in space, having flown a solo mission on Vostok 6. In 1965, Alexei Leonov became the first human to conduct the spacewalk, exiting the space capsule during Vostok 2. In 1957, Laika, a Soviet space dog, became the first animal to orbit the Earth aboard Sputnik 2. In 1966, Luna 9 became the first spacecraft to achieve a survivable landing on a celestial body, the Moon. In 1968, Zond 5 brought the first Earthlings, 2 tortoises and other life forms, to circumnavigate the Moon. In 1970, Venera 7 became the first spacecraft to land on another planet, Venus. In 1971, Mars 3 became the first spacecraft to land on Mars. During the same period, Lunokhod 1 became the first space exploration rover, while Salyut 1 became the world's first space station. Russia had 167 active satellites in space in September 2021, the world's third highest.